The Forgotten Minotaur King. Side quest. Myrink on the job. Tristife Myrink was a diminutive, white-furred mouseling, diminutive at least when compared to most humanoid species of the planet. Born in the Rakshasi-controlled port city of Skalamundri, just west of the kingdom called Goldenarod. Born to a small litter of 7 in a ramshackle hovel close to the wharfs, where both her mother and father worked the shipyard. When the catfolk that managed the docks, positions gained all but exclusively because of their race's close relation to the ruling Rajalasad family lineage, overworked the parents to near suicidally dangerous acts of labor. Her mother and father were finally forced to move from the town. The adjacent kingdom of Goldenarod was a possible choice, but still reeling from the loss of their recent kings in quick succession, resulting in general instability in the region. Choosing to use the last of their coin to book a large enough caravan, the parents and their batch of half-dozen pinklings charted out for the lovely foreign city of Monshen in the city of Andron. The father would regale his barely comprehending babies with tales of the fantastic foods, beaches, and glorious architecture. However, when they arrived, the only living arrangements available to the moneyless family of mouselings was no better, in fact, in some ways substantially worse, than their lives in Skalamundri. As she grew older, Myrink promised herself to not follow in her parents' shoes, continuing to work the shipyards for a pittance, as her 6 siblings had chosen to, including her little sister, Swari, the only one of the litter younger than Myrink herself. She hopped a transport for a youth-focused adventurers guild, as it called itself, heading out of the town as soon as she was able to read. Later, she found out it was actually a front for a rather notorious mercenary organization to recruit new blood with no familial attachments. This didn't deter her, as she stayed and trained under the Académie de la Vie de Chairs resident gunslinger, the Mademoiselle Odegra. Staying with the guild for years, and even taking her share of wet jobs to earn her keep, she managed to make a name for herself. Her ability to make bold plans on the spot, along with her impeccable gun work, earned her more and more respect amongst her fellow mercs. During a particularly high-profile mission, she, along with her tutor and close friend, Odegra, were sent to take out a schneef pusher rumored to be arriving by boat to Andron for a big payoff. The Gambaroni mafiosos he was set to meet with were the ones that had hired Myrink and Odegra to blow the deal and make sure Gambaroni's boys ended up with the schneef and the money. However, when on the docks to scope out a bird's-eye view for the exchange, she saw that nearly all of the pusher's boat staff, by utter cruel coincidence, were most of her siblings, as well as her mother and father. Pleading with Odegra to call off the job was her only recourse. But, knowing that pleading with a hardened killer like the Mademoiselle was a fool's errand, she had no choice but to watch events unfold. When Odegra took the shot at the pusher on cue, the Gambaroni halfling boys opened fire, and many innocent crewmen and women lost their lives. But Myrink didn't stick around to see who had made it out. Hopping the next barge away from Andron, the Livre de Cher mercenary organization, and whatever family members she still had alive, taking what work when it cropped up, and making no noticeable waves. When her life of killing and fleeing had finally brought her to the feet of scholar and history enthusiast Kycell Bakshi, she had no clue that the following several months of shooting and running for her life and gaining new friendships would have ended up with her in the most deadly and precarious of situations she could have ever imagined. As she walked through the halls of the Mindas castle she had recently been regaled with stories about from the Minotaur kind, she could feel herself shrink in importance with every step on the auspiciously golden royal carpeting. Her disguise, consisting of gray fur and elongated ears, did little to reassure her. The bipedal, jaguar-like gentleman that called himself the proprietor had assigned her royal guard duty and left her with little more instruction than where and who she had to report to. The royal chambers of the Great Hall and meet this Fugazi, who Kycell described as nothing short of an actual demon, for royal bodyguard training. How a position of such supreme importance was handed out so lackadaisically was as much a shock to her as actually going through with it herself. She roamed the halls of the main castle chamber, waiting for someone important enough looking to give her more direct directions to the royal chamber. Finally, she came across an open room with raised voices emanating from beyond the doorway. Approaching cautiously, she opened the doorway to see who was causing the commotion. It was a very small Samazatory frog child that couldn't have been more than a few years old. He was berating a pair of demure human and elven servants. It appeared that one of the two workers had stepped on a toy that he was playing with and reduced it to pieces scattered across the floor. Not really understanding nor caring what exactly the situation was, Myrink just shouted over the ruckus.
Excusez-moi, can you stop this nonsense and tell me where the royal chambers are?
The froggy little child snapped his fingers as if he had come up with a brilliant plan. Pointing to the easternmost hall, he bellowed in an accent that was somehow both droll and incredibly energetic for the rabbit girl to get his brother, the prince, implying the royal chambers were indeed in that direction. Nodding in thanks, and with no plans to tell any princes anything, she backed out and hoped whatever bizarre situation she had witnessed would resolve itself. Myrink continued down the eastern hall with her head on a swivel, keeping an eye out for any royal cat, frog, or otherwise generally demoniac creatures, when she abruptly came to a stop. She indeed found someone demoniac, an insane-looking, azure-skinned cross between an avian-faced humanoid and a satyr of some kind. He was roughly dragging some figure from their chamber by what looked like large mousy ears. She was shocked to see another mouseling in this area. But then again, Scalamandri wasn't far from here, so it wasn't too surprising. What did put her on edge was that when the figure began pleading for his life with a heavy Andronian accent,
Oh mon Dieu, I did nothing wrong, I swear. Please leave me and my wife in peace. I am a diplomat.
The hulking avian creature simply ignored the heavy-set mouseling's pleas and continued to drag him, now towards where Myrink stood. Stopping a few feet from her, he slapped the flailing diplomat across the scalp like he was a disobedient child, strongly enough that the gentleman stopped his flailing at once. Turning his beaked face toward her, he pointed with his empty claw.
You, okay, you? I don't know you. I don't like surprises, okay? Start talking.
Me? I was assigned to the royal bodyguard by the proprietor. That was all I was told.
Giving her a once-over that made Myrink feel rather uncharacteristically uncomfortable, the creature, Fugazi, smirked.
Huh, what are you? Livery de Cher? Former, I assume, huh? I had a sister that worked with those ladies. Good people, good people.
Myrink confusedly thought to herself, how did everyone in this castle mark her as a former mercenary so effectively? She nodded in confirmation, and his smirk turned into a grin. He asked for her name and gestured for her to follow him.
My name? Odegra is my name.
Fugazi abruptly stopped in his tracks and whipped his head to Myrink, with a heavily confused expression on his face. Then, a look of dawning understanding filled his pate as he let out a laugh.
You're a funny girl, huh? You're a funny girl, Odegra. Yeah, okay. Well, you're gonna have to prove your worth, okay? This fellow here is a spy, okay? Likely, so is his wife. So you're gonna spend your first night on the job with me getting answers out of this guy, okay? You got a long night ahead of you. My name is Fugazi Nomani. I handle all of the wet work for the princess. Voila.
As they continued down the hall, and Fugazi began to explain the night's proceedings, Myrink saw another figure being pulled from the diplomat's chambers. Another mouseling. This one she recognized. Her younger sister, Soiree. Hi, my name is Matthew Lewis, and I do the voice of Kycell along with all the additional voices in The Forgotten Minotaur King. I hope you enjoy the podcast and continue to listen into the future. If you want to support my content, please donate to my Patreon, Matthew Lewis Podcasts. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Matthew Lewis Podcasts, all one word. Follow me on Twitter at Matthew Lewis P. Or leave a positive maximum star review on your podcast app of choice. If you found this podcast, I assume you're familiar enough with the genre to know how important reviews are to the survival of a channel. And I hope you recommend this to your friends. Or if you didn't like it, you could recommend it to your enemies, and I'll teach them a lesson. Keep it sleazy, folks, and thank you.